What if I told you that one of the best ways to support a man's health after 60 doesn't involve another pill, special supplement, or any surgery? It might surprise you, but it's actually a basic powder you've probably walked by countless times in your kitchen cabinet. I'm talking about plain baking soda. Most folks only think to use it to freshen up the fridge or scrub out the sink. Hardly anyone realizes it may also help with easing joint aches, supporting healthy blood flow where it counts, reducing that heavy feeling around the prostate, keeping things fresh below the belt, and even bringing back comfort in places you thought were gone for good. All of that for just a few pennies a use. I'm Dr. James. For more than 30 years, I've helped men find their energy, boost circulation, and rebuild confidence using safe, natural approaches. And let me share something many doctors never mention. Your body still wants to work. It just needs the right support. Here's what might surprise you. That same baking soda in your kitchen can help with 7 of the most common issues men over 60 face, especially those tied to sexual health, energy, and inflammation. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to put baking soda to work for everything from firmer performance, to prostate comfort, to irritation that creams just can't fix. Stick around because tip number 5 may change how you think about male hygiene for good. By the way, have you subscribed yet? If not, now's a good time. And be sure to hit that little bell so you never miss simple tips to help you feel stronger, healthier, and more in control. Also, let me know you're here. If this sounds helpful, type a quick yes in the comments. If not, just say no. Either way, I read every note to make sure I'm giving you what you truly need. Alright, let's start with one of the most common but quietly frustrating problems that shows up as men get older. It might seem small at first, but over time it can really wear on you. I'm talking about that stubborn itch, the dryness and irritation around your groin, inner thighs, and lower body that just won't let up. Many guys figure it's just a part of aging, something you've got to put up with. But there's actually a simple, natural way to get real relief. It starts with how you use baking soda in the bath. Let me explain. I once treated a man named Tom. He was 68, in pretty good shape, stayed active with golf and yard work. But when he sat down in my office, I could tell something was bothering him. He leaned in, dropped his voice and said, "Doc, this might sound small, but it's driving me crazy. My skin down there just won't stop itching. Night's the worst. I've tried powders, creams, soaps. Nothing helps. Honestly, it's even messing with how close I feel to my wife." Tom's not alone. Over time, the skin in those areas can get dry, sensitive, and irritated. It often starts as a little tightness or redness. Then before you know it, you're scratching in bed, tossing around, and avoiding closeness you actually miss. The good news is it doesn't have to stay that way. One of the simplest and most calming things I've recommended over the years is a warm bath with baking soda. No fancy price tag, no long list of chemicals. Just half a cup of baking soda in warm water, soak for about 15 to 20 minutes. What happens is pretty remarkable. Baking soda gently balances extra acidity on the skin. That's big because as you age, your skin thins out and reacts more to soaps, detergents, and even sweat. The baking soda helps settle irritation and quiet those nerve endings that keep sending itch signals to your brain. But it's more than skin deep. There's something almost peaceful about sitting quietly in warm water with a natural, familiar ingredient. Not another cream or bottle. Just you, the water, and a little time to care for yourself. Tom came back after trying it twice. He smiled right away and said, "Doc, I actually slept through the night. First time in weeks. I feel like me again." That's really what it's about. You don't need a shelf full of products. Just the right small step and a little willingness to try. And for men with sensitive skin or a history of rashes, this soak is fragrance-free, dye-free, with no preservatives. Even if getting into a tub is tough, soaking your feet or lower legs can still give relief. Often, when your skin feels calm, you move differently. You might sleep closer to your spouse or just carry yourself with more comfort. It's a small thing that can ripple through the rest of your life. Now let's turn to something that often settles in quietly but starts to bother you more each year. That slow, heavy pressure in your stomach after you eat. The bloating, the way your chest can start to burn an hour later, and how it all seems to hang around longer than it ever used to. I saw this recently in a man named Greg. He was 72, had spent years coaching high school baseball, always quick with a handshake and a story. But that day, he didn't have the same spark. He sat down and told me, "Doc, I can't even enjoy food anymore. Every meal brings heartburn. Even dishes I've loved my whole life. Feels like my gut just turned on me." He's not alone. As we age, our stomach slows down. We make less acid. The muscles that move food along get weaker. Rich foods, evening snacks, or some meds can turn into a real headache. Pretty soon, meals that used to bring joy become something you dodge. You skip dinner, cut out foods you love, or lean on pills that promise quick relief but create new issues. That's where something simple comes in. Just half a teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a glass of water can start calming the discomfort almost right away. Because baking soda is alkaline, it gently neutralizes extra stomach acid. That means it can ease the irritation behind heartburn, reflux, and that heavy, tight feeling that keeps you up at night. The best part is it works fast. Within minutes, many men feel the pressure drop and the burning start to fade. Unlike a lot of over-the-counter stuff, it doesn't come with aluminum or artificial dyes. It's old-fashioned, clean, and when used here and there, incredibly helpful. Greg was skeptical. He laughed and said, "Baking soda, like for cookies." I told him just give it a shot for a week. When he came back, he was different. "Doc, I had pasta last night. First time in months. No burning, no pills. I slept straight through." Of course, baking soda has sodium, so if you've got high blood pressure, kidney concerns, or take certain meds, always check with your doctor first. What matters most isn't just the relief. It's the freedom it brings. Being able to share a meal with your wife, enjoy a holiday plate, or say yes to a slice of pie without bracing for hours of discomfort. That matters more than people admit. Because once you're not always thinking about heartburn, your mind relaxes. You're not tense at the table. You laugh more, reach for another helping, stop treating food like a threat. It's a small step, but it changes how you show up for the moments that count. Now let's move to something most men rarely want to discuss, but almost all feel at some point as they get older. I'm talking about what happens to your feet after decades of hard work. Every morning when you stand up, there's that dull ache. At night, when you finally sit down, you notice just how sore they've become. Your feet have carried you through jobs, across airports, around golf courses and gardens. But now they hurt, swell, itch, and sometimes no matter how often you wash, they still give off a smell that makes you self-conscious. I once worked with Bill, 74, a retired firefighter. Tough man, not the type to complain. But he sat down with a look of defeat. "Doc, my feet hurt all the time. The skin's cracking. Honestly, they smell awful. I've tried sprays, creams, prescriptions, nothing's helped. It's embarrassing." He's far from alone. As you age, your skin gets thinner and dries out quicker. Circulation slows. Fungal infections show up more easily. And many older men lose some flexibility, so it's harder to care for your feet properly. The end result is pain, odor, and a nagging feeling something's off. That's where baking soda comes in again. Not just for cleaning sinks, but to gently help your feet. A foot soak with warm water and a few tablespoons of baking soda does more than soften tough skin. Its alkaline nature helps neutralize acids and bacteria that cause odor. It soothes irritation, eases itching, and even discourages fungus. Soaking your feet like this just twice a week often leads to noticeable changes. Less cracking, fewer flare-ups, and a freshness that lasts longer than store-bought powders. When Bill first tried it, I told him to keep it simple: soak for 20 minutes 3 times a week, dry thoroughly, then sprinkle a little baking soda in his shoes overnight. A month later, he came back grinning. "Doc, it's like I've got new feet. No more smell, no more sting. And my wife actually lets me put my feet on the couch again." It's funny how small victories matter. Because taking care of your feet this way sends yourself a message. It says you still deserve comfort. That every step should feel supported. And if you've got diabetes, circulation issues, or balance concerns, this isn't optional. It's essential. Healthy feet mean fewer infections, less chance of serious sores, and a better shot at staying active. It all ties together. When your feet feel better, you stand taller, walk farther, move more freely. Your confidence picks up, and with it, you might even feel more open to closeness again. Next, I want to show you how baking soda quietly helps in another spot most men never expect. It's not about your muscles or skin this time. It's about your mouth. Let's talk about something smaller, but deeply tied to comfort and dignity. It's about your mouth. If you've ever worn dentures, partials, or even a night guard, you know what I mean. It's not just about eating. It's about being able to smile, talk close to someone, or laugh without a second thought. I remember Leonard, 79, who had recently started wearing full dentures. When he came in, he looked weighed down. "Doc, it doesn't feel like my mouth anymore. No matter how much I brush or rinse, there's this smell. I don't want to kiss my wife. I even hold back from talking close to people." I've heard versions of this from many men. Getting dentures or an appliance isn't just physical, it changes how you feel about yourself. And when odor, residue, or discomfort show up, it cuts at your confidence. That's why I often suggest something so simple it catches people off guard: dissolve a teaspoon of baking soda in a cup of warm water, then let your dentures or guard soak in it. Baking soda lifts away bits of debris, neutralizes odor, and helps keep bacteria from building up. It does it without harsh chemicals that burn sensitive gums or leave behind an odd taste. That matters more as you age. Dry mouth becomes common, gums get delicate, and the last thing you need is a cleaner that irritates them further. Leonard was doubtful. "Doc, you're telling me plain baking soda?" I told him to give it a real try. After a few weeks, he came back lighter, even smiling. "Doc, I feel normal again. My wife says I smell like me. I'm not pulling back from people anymore." That little change mattered so much. Being able to eat without pain, chat without worrying about breath, smile freely. It's not just about looks. Keeping oral appliances clean cuts down bacteria that can travel through your bloodstream and impact your heart or immune system. And it only takes a minute. A teaspoon of baking soda, a cup of warm water, a short soak. No sting, no strong chemicals. It also says something bigger. That you still care about showing up well. That you want to be close to people without holding back. And that brings confidence that spreads to every part of life. Next, let me show you how baking soda might even help with that sharp, fiery pain in your foot or ankle that wakes you up at night. You'll want to hear this if gout has ever knocked you down. Now let's get into a kind of pain that only someone who's been through it truly understands. It doesn't creep in. It strikes hard, often in the middle of the night. You wake up and your toe, ankle, or maybe your knee is throbbing so badly it feels like it's on fire. Even the light touch of a sheet hurts. Trying to stand is like stepping on hot glass. That's gout. And for men over 60, it's more common than you think. I remember Frank, 66, a retired plumber who'd spent years on his feet. He pointed at his foot and shook his head. "Doc, I never thought something so small could stop me like this. I can't walk, can't sleep, I feel like I'm falling apart." Gout happens when uric acid builds up and forms crystals in your joints, triggering inflammation. Sometimes you absolutely need medication. But Frank asked if there was anything natural he could also do at home. I brought up baking soda. Because it's alkaline, it can gently help balance acidity in your system. When used carefully, it might make it harder for uric acid to crystallize. I had Frank take half a teaspoon in a glass of water once a day when he felt a flare starting. In a few days, he came back saying the swelling was down, the heat was fading, and he could actually put weight on his foot. I made sure he knew, and I'll say it to you, it doesn't erase gout. It doesn't replace medical care. But for Frank, it gave back some control. For many men, gout is more than pain. It's a stark reminder they're slowing down. That small joys, walking the dog, climbing stairs, dancing with their wife, now come with hesitation. But when the pain eases, freedom returns. The freedom to move around your house without bracing. To plan your day without guessing how your joints will behave. Of course, because baking soda has sodium, if you've got high blood pressure, kidney problems, or salt restrictions, you need to talk to your doctor first. But used wisely, it's become a reliable helper for many men. Not just to ease physical pain, but to lift that dark mood that comes with feeling stuck. Frank later told me, "Doc, you didn't just help my foot. You helped me feel like myself again." That's what simple tools can do. They don't make you 25 again. But they can hand you back a bit of power. Next, let's look at another kind of discomfort. One that doesn't strike with sharp pain, but creeps in quietly and can dominate your whole day, especially in the bathroom. Let's talk about something most men don't like to bring up. You don't swap stories about it over coffee. Usually you keep quiet until it's so uncomfortable you can't take it anymore. I'm talking about that burning when you pee. The constant pressure low in your belly. That annoying feeling that no matter how often you go, it never feels finished. It can hang around for weeks, slowly grinding you down. Not just physically, but mentally too. You start feeling like your body is no longer under your control. I remember Henry, 70, a solid guy, not the type to complain. But when he sat in front of me, his eyes said he was worn out. He sighed and said, "Doc, every time I pee it stings like hell. I feel like I've got to go all the time, then barely anything comes out. And I hate even talking about this, but I don't know what else to do." His story's common, especially in men over 60. Sometimes it's an aging prostate, sometimes a bit of irritation in the urinary tract, sometimes side effects from long-term meds. If it's severe or doesn't ease up, of course you need medical care. But when it's milder, from irritation or low-grade inflammation, there's a simple approach that might surprise you. It's baking soda again. Half a teaspoon stirred into a glass of water once or twice a day for a few days can help by reducing the acidity in your urine. When your urine is less acidic, it often stings a lot less. Henry was willing to try. 2 days later, he actually called my office. "It's not all gone, Doc, but it's a world better. I'm not scared to use the bathroom anymore." That small improvement had ripple effects. He started sleeping longer without running to the bathroom every hour. During the day, he wasn't so focused on finding the nearest restroom. Most of all, his shoulders weren't so tense, because he wasn't living in constant dread of discomfort. It's worth saying clearly. Baking soda won't fix an infection. It doesn't take the place of antibiotics if you need them. But for many men dealing with mild irritation, it offers a natural, gentle way to dial down the discomfort. It also says something to yourself. That you're still paying attention to your health, that you're willing to take action instead of writing it off as, just getting old. Henry told me later it wasn't just the burn that got better. His whole attitude changed. He was eating better, staying longer at family dinners, not so jumpy about bathroom breaks. Sometimes these small changes do more than ease pain. They give you back calm and confidence, which might be what matters most. Next, I'll show you how this simple kitchen powder might even help with those tiny, painful sores inside your mouth that make eating or talking miserable. Let's get into that. Now let's move on to something that sounds small until it happens to you. Then it takes over every bite, every word, even that morning sip of coffee. I'm talking about canker sores. Just one little ulcer on your cheek, gum, or under your tongue can turn eating into a careful dance. Talking hurts. Smiling or laughing feels risky. And for older men, these often pop up more frequently and heal more slowly, especially if your mouth is already dry. I once had a patient named Sam, 71, who came in for a check on his joint pain. But halfway through our chat, he paused, rubbed his jaw, and said, "Honestly, Doc, I've got this sore inside my mouth that's ruining everything. I can't eat without wincing." He was tough, not a complainer. So I knew it had to be bad. What he was going through is pretty common. These sores are often triggered by stress, tiny injuries from food, or small immune shifts. Most guys try mouthwashes from the store, hoping it'll help. But those usually have alcohol that just burns and dries out already sensitive spots. I suggested something different. Half a teaspoon of baking soda in a small glass of warm water. Swish it gently around your mouth 2 or 3 times a day, then spit it out. No sting, no harsh aftertaste. Sam raised an eyebrow. "Really? Just baking soda?" I told him to trust me and give it a few days. When he came back later for his knees, his mood was lighter. He said, "Doc, that rinse actually worked. The sore's nearly gone. I could finally eat a sandwich yesterday without making a face." Here's why it helps. Baking soda slightly lowers the acidity in your mouth, which makes it less irritating to those tiny ulcers. It also has mild antiseptic properties, helping cut down bacteria that slow healing. And it doesn't damage healthy tissue nearby. The best part is it gives you back simple joys. Eating comfortably. Chatting without wincing. Smiling without guarding your mouth. I've shared this rinse with plenty of men, and most come back thankful. Not because it's magic, but because it reminds them they can still do something for themselves. They don't have to sit around waiting for the pain to pass. Sam told me, "Doc, it wasn't just the sore that got better. My mood did too. I'm back to eating, talking more, not cranky all the time." That's what these little steps are really about. Whether it's your skin, your stomach, your feet, or your mouth, it's not just about stopping discomfort. It's about feeling steady in your own skin again. Next, let's tie all of this together. I want to show you why baking soda, humble as it is, might be one of the best quiet tools you can keep around as you get older. After decades of working with men on their health, I've learned real healing often starts small. Not with some new drug or a fancy piece of equipment. It begins with simple steps you can do yourself. Baking soda is one of those. It's not going to rewind the years or wipe out every issue. But when used wisely, it can ease a lot of everyday problems that chip away at comfort and confidence. Think back on what we've covered. A baking soda bath calms down itchy, irritated skin so you can rest, reconnect, and feel at home in your body again. A small dose in water can settle your stomach, ease heartburn, and let you enjoy meals without dread. That same little scoop might help blunt a gout flare so you can walk without wincing. A foot soak cuts odor and cracking, restoring dignity that reaches far beyond your shoes. Rinsing your dentures or mouth guard keeps your mouth fresh and comfortable. A gentle drink might quiet urinary burn, helping you sleep and move through your day without constantly scouting for the nearest bathroom. And swirling a mild rinse around a canker sore can bring back the simple joy of eating and laughing pain-free. Each one of these alone may not seem life-changing. But together, they often are. Because when your body starts feeling better in small ways, your mind follows. You stop bracing for pain. You sleep deeper. You stand taller. You talk and smile more freely. I think of all the men I've sat with over the years, stoic, silent, carrying more discomfort than they'd ever admit. Slowly, after trying a foot soak or a simple glass of baking soda water, they'd come back lighter. Not cured. Not 20 again. But more at ease. More present. More like themselves. That's the quiet power of the right tool at the right time. Something humble. Inexpensive. That respects your body instead of overwhelming it. It's why I keep recommending baking soda. Not as a gimmick, but as a steady companion. A small, natural way to show yourself you still matter. That growing older doesn't mean giving up. It means paying closer attention. Being gentler. Choosing what truly helps. So the next time you see that little box in your cupboard, don't just think of cleaning. Think of comfort. Think of a way to take back small moments that add up to a life that still feels solid and yours. Maybe it's soaking your feet after a long day. Maybe it's settling your stomach after dinner. Maybe it's finding relief when you wake at night and wonder if you'll fall back asleep. Whatever it is, you've got a tool. Simple, ready when you are, on your own terms. And sometimes that's all a man needs to feel steady and strong again. If even one of these tips made you feel a little more hopeful, think about who else might need to hear this. A friend, a brother, a neighbor. Share it. Because taking care of yourself isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters most, and doing it with care. Sometimes it's not the big, complicated fixes that make the biggest difference. It's the quiet, steady choices you make each day that help you feel more comfortable in your own skin and remind you that your well-being still matters. If anything here gave you a bit of hope or a small idea to try, I'm glad. And if you think someone you care about could use this kind of simple encouragement, feel free to pass it along. Because at the end of the day, taking better care of ourselves, and each other, is what keeps us moving forward with a little more ease, a little more strength, and maybe even a little more joy.